I used to be a huge fan of the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Me and my friends, when I was over at their houses, would binge watch the show on Netflix, collect all the toys, and listen to all of the fan music. I liked the show because it was colorful, aesthetically pleasing, lighthearted, and taught me genuinely good lessons. However, I made one fatal mistake in those days. I opened up about it outside of my circle. Immediately, I was labeled a brony and chastised for my love of the cartoon. Thing is, I had no idea what a brony was until somebody filled me in. They described bronies as disgusting, smelly, and perverted creatures who only liked MLP because they wanted to sexualize its characters and, furthermore, any young soul who watched. It turned my stomach to even be mentioned in the same sentence as those people, and it bothered me deeply that I was being equated to them. Due to this, I immediately forced myself to stop liking the show. I put all of my toys into storage, deleted all of my illegal fansong MP3s off my MP3 player, and never so much as wore another pony t-shirt again. Now, what if I told you that it was 2014 at this time and I was an 11-year-old girl? Yes, those around me managed to make an 11-year-old girl, literally the show's target demographic, ashamed of liking a show that was aimed specifically for her. Furthermore, similar bullying caused my little cousin, a boy of merely 5 years old, to stop watching the show as well. He was so excited to have MLP folders for his first day of kindergarten, and they were quickly snatched away by the teacher and traded for more boyish paper holders. Despite raising concern with the school, he never saw those folders again. Fast forward about 2 years or so, if my memory serves, and I was browsing my parents' newly purchased Netflix account. I was looking at the documentaries because, yes, I was always this autistic, and I came across a title that caused me to do a double take. It was called Bronies, the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony. Intrigued, and remembering my own experience with the term brony, I clicked play. What I saw shocked me. This wasn't a horror documentary about perverts, basement dwellers, and people that have never seen a bar of soap. No, what I saw instead was creativity, music, and people genuinely enjoying themselves. There were musicians like the Living Tombstones, animators, cosplayers, and even families that bonded over MLP the way me and my cousin used to. Sadly, Netflix no longer has this documentary, but it opened my eyes to something. Yes, the brony fandom has predators and perverts, but so do all fan bases. There are infinitely more people who just, like the show. And it was that notion that planted a seed in my mind that continues to expand to this day. I'm Wet Blanket, and I feel like I always find myself in the worst fandoms, or at least by internet standards. Yes, I've been into Undertale, FNAF, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Cuphead, Danganronpa, Eddsworld, and, yes, Tally Hall. I used to be so ashamed of myself for genuinely loving this media for the bad reputation it got. Hell, in middle school, I tried to change myself completely just to stop getting taunted for my strange interests. But I'm here to tell you one thing. You can try to take the fan out of the girl, but the girl will always be a fangirl. Yes, much like William Afton, I always came back. Then, at some point, I just said fuck it and started dressing like this. And this shit was brave, okay? I went to a small-town farm school. So, this video is about cringe culture, my experience, and why it's ultimately dumb as hell. Without further ado, I'm Wet Blanket, and I talk about things that I don't feel get discussed enough in the commentary community. So, let's start a conversation. Also, just warning you guys now, I'm coming down with something, so I'm probably gonna sound a little hoarse for this entire video. Just bear with me. Alright, so what is cringe culture and why are we killing it? Cringe culture, or cringy, is any content that someone sees as embarrassing or worthy of being mocked, and cringe culture is the practice as a whole of mocking that content. The top definition for cringe culture on Urban Dictionary says the culture started on the internet of making fun of people and or insulting them by calling them cringy or cringe for doing something which doesn't harm or somehow insult anyone nor anything. It has also been described as simply a form of bullying, particularly the bullying of children or childlike things. Okay, so cringe culture is making fun of people for liking things. Namely, these are things like cartoons, video games, anime, or any other fun thing that I love. God damn. Okay, I swear to God, nobody remembers this but me, but do you guys remember the time between like 2016 and 2017, or just pretty much the time right before PewDiePie started his Minecraft series? When everybody even thought Minecraft was cringe, and then PewDiePie started playing it ironically, ended up liking it, and then Minecraft was like loved by the masses again. I feel like cringe culture, much like fashion, goes in kind of this circular motion. In the fashion industry, it's kind of like every 20 years, trends will come back. Right now, it's like Y2K and like 2000 scene and stuff like that. But right before that, everybody was about the 90s again. And right before that, everybody was about the 70s again with the release of Stranger Things and It and all that other fucking bullshit. Yeah, cringe culture is kind of the same thing. Something will be cringy for a while, but then people will actually give it a chance and realize it's good, and then it won't be cringy, but then it'll eventually become cringy again and make way for something else. Alright then, now that we've established what cringe is, what is the alternative? Well... Now, before people come for me in the comments, there is nothing wrong with any of these things. I just simply looked up most popular fashion and aesthetics on Google, and that's what popped up. See, humans are social creatures, and it's in our best interest to be accepted and loved. So ultimately, we tend to fall in line. This isn't a bad thing inherently, and in fact, this instinct is helpful when avoiding things like public outbursts, disturbances of the peace, and similar things that harm those around us. No one wants to be that guy, you know? But when does this go too far? In my opinion, this natural public perception becomes too much when it involves things that aren't hurting others. Those people that film alternative dressers and make fun of them while they're just trying to go about their daily business, whack as fuck. Like, I want you to seriously slow down, lower the iPhone 13 camera, and ask yourself, what am I ultimately trying to gain out of this? Unfortunately, it's all part of the inherent human desire to be desired. Their thought process is, well, if I'm making fun of them for being different, then the people that look the same as I do will be less apt to notice my flaws. The thing is, it's societally accepted that in order to be an in-group, there also has to be an out-group. It's okay when these out-groups are things like rapists, murderers, and pedophiles, but it becomes a little more dicey when this out-group is simply people that like to play 1940s style shoot-'em-up games. So with this in mind, even if everybody looked and dressed the exact same and had the exact same body type, the exact same diet, the exact same everything, there is no humanly possible way that we could all be the exact same being. So, if everybody looked the same on the outside, they would find inside things to pick on. Yes, that means that in order for an ecosystem to thrive, where everybody isn't just like picking on everybody's like tiny mental issues and the way they chew chips and the way they breathe air, the only way to keep these people from nitpicking every tiny little thing in order to create an outgroup, there has to be people in the world that dare to be different. And again, by dare to be different, I don't mean being a pedophile or a murderer, I mean maybe wearing black a little more. Of course there are those that'll say it's not that deep, but I'm sorry, man, it is. And if you can't see that, you may not be intelligent enough to have this conversation anyway. Sit down, honey, the grown-ups are talking. And to be completely honest, everyone has a little bit of that 2010s media-obsessed Tumblr kid ready to just come bursting out. For example, at this same small-town farm school, football was a big deal. The boys on the team would always make fun of the anime kids, the geeks, and the nerds when they were in a group. However, that changed dramatically if you were able to talk to them one-on-one. It was by doing this very thing that I learned that nearly everyone on the team was a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but no one knew it. Nearly every single person on this football team thought they were keeping some huge secret, but everyone had the same damn secret and they were only keeping it from each other. These same dudes would talk to me, the chubby K-pop fan, about these interests because they knew I'd understand, and they were the exact same ones to turn around and talk about how gross I was for consuming such content when they were with the boys. And honestly, it didn't really hurt. Honestly, I just mostly felt bad for them. Here's something I realized way back when I was 12 or 13. That honestly, it's gonna take some of these people a life-altering event to realize the same shit that I knew when I was 12 and loved Undertale. Those who bully others are also bullying themselves. Of course, there's always the old adage of, oh, if they're bullying you, it's because they're insecure. But I really want us to lean into that because there is a lot more truth to it than we think there is, and there's a lot more angles that's coming from. The bullies make the ones daring enough to be different cry, not only because it makes them feel better, but as a constant reminder that they too could be this sobbing degenerate mess if they so much as slip up once. To me, it was just liking a mid-ass anime like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But to them, it was social suicide if anybody knew. And it's crazy to be an outside observer in this kind of situation because every single or nearly every single person on that team liked the exact same anime show. But because of this self-inflicted social pressure, the mask stays on, and they can only lament their loneliness in private. Little by little, they lose any semblance of a personality. Their friends will only ever be surface level because they're terrified of the very backlash they administer to others. They will forever be doomed to lead a double life, and the worst part is they only really have themselves to blame. Whoa. That was deep. But there's truth to it, you know? So I suppose what I have to say is, when you hear of a pedophile that used MLP forums as a way to groom minors, maybe talk more about the fact that they used a harmless medium to do harm, and less about the fact that they're an adult that watches MLP. Because let's be honest, one of these two things is clearly the problem, and the other is just an adult that casually watches MLP. Lumping the latter with the former not only causes that roundabout shame effect for the person that just genuinely likes the show, but also takes the focus off of the actual problem in hand, grooming and manipulation. Seriously, if these people put half as much effort into actually catching predators as they did shaming people for liking things, let me just say we'd be a lot more productive on the whole catching predators thing. So yeah, cringe culture is dead, and the killing of cringe culture is highly productive for our society. I love Penelope Scott, My Hero Academia, and Beyblade Metal Fight. Don't judge, it's been a special interest since I was 7. And shit, if anyone needs a boogeyman to blame for killing cringe culture, I'll certainly take the fall. Now let's go, guys, we have maps and zoo files to deplatform. No, but for real, just like what you like, as long as it's not hurting other people or animals or, you know, like, just, I thought that was, like, common knowledge, you know what I mean? Like, to be real with you, we only have 75 years on this planet, God willing, and I don't want to spend a single second of it conforming anymore. My goal here on this channel and in life is to be as non-judgmental as possible. Again, as long as the things you do don't hurt those around you. And I'll go on record and say this now. The cringiest motherfuckers are the best people to hang around, respectful. They're super fucking real because they've worn their interests on their sleeves their whole life, and also that makes them non-judgmental to your interests. Cringe is a hell of a drug. Once you go cringe, you can't go back. So let's make 2024 the cringiest year yet. Thanks for watching.